Right, let's have a look at what we've got in here. These are all switches by the looks of it. What's in this one? Cable cord grip thingies. They're quite soft actually. Quick look at one of those. I think they've still got the film on. That'll be a TPE type material. And we've got some rotary switches, 1 pole 12 way. Okay, add those to my collection. 3 pole 4 way. Okay, useful. A flash drive SD card with a 32. Is that gigabytes? Must be, it's an Evo. Okay, well we'll have a look at that. It might have some old photos on or something. I'm not sure what that is. Rubbish. Some washers. That one is dead. Put those out the way. What else have we got in here? On-off switches. These have got LEDs in them. Greens, reds. I can see a green. That one looks like a blue. Okay. Green. Quite a lot of those. Toggle switch. Greens, reds, blues. Well, there's a nice collection of those. And that looks like that goes with that one. So put that in there, maybe. Okay, we'll put that one in there as well. Alright, useful. Broke. Okay, let's put that to one side. Wire wool. Okay, let's get this out and have a look through here. Quite a lot of hacksaw blades. Some sort of scoring device, maybe a glass cutter. Don't know. What we got here? 24 teeth. 24 teeth. 24. Okay, they're just bog standard hacksaw blades, but these are Starrett high speed steel. Okay, that's useful. 32, 32. These all look like 32. That's a 24. Got some 24s. That's a nice selection of hacksaw blades. Not as good as the cobalt ones I normally use, but they'll do. And in here we have, well, that's going to need a bit of a clean up and a degrease. That looks vintage. And that's the other part for that. But I think that's going to need a bit of acid treatment. What else have we got here? Small putty knife, another putty knife. Scrapers. Not entirely sure what they're off, but they look pretty old. Just adjust the brightness on this a little bit, because I'm not getting a lot of light. There we go. Oh, chisel. Okay, useful. 2 more of those, whatever they are. Another one of those. They must have been from some sort of bow and arrow type thing, and I think that's supposed to be bent. I'm not sure what the technical name of that is. It's got a hole in the end. And we got some wood augers by the looks of it. They're going to need a bit of acid treatment. Stick them in a bit of vinegar and a dead spider. Nice. Get out of the way. Okay, more chisels. Yeah, they're going to need a bit of a sharpen, but they're not through handle, but nevertheless. And some more scrapery things and some more chisels, which look like they've been in the wars. And that is that feels like plastic, but I don't think it is. I think that's wood. Okay, that will need a clean. That I have no idea. And another chisel. There's some useful chisels there. And That one is definitely a bit of a barn find, but these will all clean up, I think. Pick of some description and a couple of more wood augers. Oh, these are old. These are very old. In fact, they've all got those. So I'm looking for a particular type of grill to put those in. And then that is, who knows, and a dead moth at the bottom. So, okay, right, let me just clear this up, and I'll stick some of these in some acid and, well, maybe give them wire wool down since I've got some wire wool, and have a dig in what's left. Right, next batch. These I kind of like the look of. These are a load of, blimey, I think that's Morse taper 3 actually, but the rest of these appear to be Morse taper 2. I'm guessing they're all Imperial. What does that say? Can I read that? Dormer, high speed steel. Where's that wire wool? I've just put it away. It might be a 21mm. I'm going to need to give these a bit of a clean. They're all Morse taper 2. That's a 2. So these will all fit my Myford. And that's a bit of something or other, not particularly useful. And something else. Obviously I didn't like throwing anything away. What does that one say? That one, 16, difficult to read, 16.5 is that? No, can't quite read these. There's quite a few of them. That's a wood one, because it's got a brad point. Okay. That one looks like it's been modified. Some smaller ones, they're Morse taper 1, but I've got an adapter for those. And that, I think, is a masonry bit. And that's that. Right, okay, well they'll clean up. Oh, crikey. Right, let me put those away. Right, next batch. Solder. And some more solder. I think that's solder. That could just be wire actually. That feels a bit stiff. So I'm thinking that's just wire. This is definitely solder, it says so. It's a little bit thick, but that's going to be leaded. And that looks like solder as well. Doesn't say. Anyway, that'll be useful. Not so sure about that. Some boxes. Oh yes. Washers. You had quite a lot of these on the shelves. I don't think they're particularly sorted. There's some spring washers there. Some locking washers. Just lots and lots of washers. And more washers. I might have to soak these in a bit of acid to clean them up and then have a proper sort through. Oh, and these ones look in slightly better condition. And in here we've got more washers, big penny washers. Blimey, he liked his washers. I know he did a bit of work on classic cars, but there were lots of boxes of nuts and bolts as well, but I didn't think they would be all that useful. Right, here we got what I think are possibly old resistors, difficult to read. Some of these have got markings on them, but I'll need a jeweler's loupe to look at them. But anyhow, we can have a sort through there. More resistors, including some power resistors, which are useful to have around. So nothing terribly exciting, but there's a fair selection in there, which I'll have to go through and sort. Yes, I remember finding these. A couple of rather old oil stones. That one isn't going to come out. This one probably will with a... Oh, maybe not. Oh, God. Okay, well they're not coming out in a hurry. They need a bit of a clean up. box is splitting, but that can be fixed. I do not know how old these are, but I thought I'd grab them. And what do we got here? Birds, by the looks of it. These look brand new. That one's not centre punching, but that does look to be a brand new burr. High speed steel, I suspect. They're not quite weighty enough to be carbide. Again, that's a rougher one, but isn't centre punching. They're cross cut. This one's just spiral flute. That one's again not centre punching, but a pear shape. None of these are centre punching. That one's got an interesting cut on it. This one's double-ended, but these all look brand new. And the same here. So none of these are centre punching, but nevertheless they might come in useful. Okay, now I picked up a old disposable barbecue. I don't rate them myself. I prefer a proper system, but can always steal the coal out of it. And an axe. I've already cleaned this up a little bit because it looked like it was in fairly good condition. I think it could do a bit more work on the head, and this edge definitely needs a bit of a regrind, but I think mostly that's superficial. God knows how old this thing might be, but there's a bit of weight in there, and even more weight in this, which again could be vintage. I think this might potentially be a bit seized. Oh, that's not moving very freely at all. No, doesn't want to tighten or loosen, but there is a quick release mechanism here. I don't know if there's a name or anything on this. Record number 2. Right. Okay, well, at least I can get access to it. Is that a bit of welding? Looks like it may have had a bit of remedial work at some point. That spring is going to be well and truly gunked up, so that is going to need a pretty good clean. But it's all there. Crikey. Yeah, it's as stiff as a board. Never mind, I think we can probably recover that. And a mysterious bag of weed killer. We did have quite a large area of ground, including an orchard. This is, who knows, it's got glyphosate in it. 7.2 grams per litre. Blimey, that's not very strong. And more weed killer, same stuff. Same stuff. This is Weedol. So more glyphosate and more Weedol. So nothing, it's got tubes in it. Oh well, nothing particularly exciting there. I was hoping for something a little bit more vintage, because you can't get the good stuff anymore. I've got a little bit of sodium chlorate put aside, but right, okay, moving on. And here we have some spanners, probably Imperial. Oh, we've got a King Dick here. Yep, 3/8 Whitworth. These are likely to be all Imperial. Oh, I don't know. That's 17. That's 18, 19. So that's metric. That's chrome vanadium. Okay, that one's German. So that one's bound to be good. That's 16. More chrome vanadium. More German make. Obviously bought decent quality tools. 40 of them. Looks like we might have a whole set of these actually. Probably going to need a bit of a clean up. Drop forged 1415. That one's definitely going to need a bit of a clean. 5/8. So it's a mixture. That one, 1/4 3/16. Yeah, that one, who knows. More German. Europa. 1/2 inch. More chrome vanadium. That one needs a bit of a clean. Chrome vanadium. And what looks like a feeler gauge. Yeah, I doubt that's in spec, but it might clean up. No idea what that is. Tyre pressure gauge maybe? Can't quite read on that. Yeah, some sort of pressure gauge I suspect. A little spinny wrench, ubiquitous Allen key. More spanners, more feeler gauges. That's an oddball looking one. And another feeler gauge. Crikey, these are going to need a bit of a degrease. And a nail and a bit of bar. Well, I think with a clean up they might be okay. Let's move on to the next batch. Right, saving the big batch till the end. G-clamps, a pipe wrench, some bolt cutters which appear to work. A lot of adjustment points on here. Okay, what looks to be some sort of slating hammer. A small crowbar of some description. That looks like a torque wrench. Yep, that's okay. Probably needs a bit of a clean. Oh, blimey, that is definitely going to need some cleaning up. That is quite a large tap wrench. Right, yeah, that's going to need a definite clean up. There are some taps and dies which were found. I didn't find them on the day I was hunting around, but they have been located. What else have we got here? Okay, we've got an old brace drill. Don't think. Okay, it's got an interesting mechanism. Going to need a bit of a clean up, that is, as well. And here's a die holder. Right, that's definitely going to need a bit of a clean up. So we have got at least one die here. Oh, that's filthy. I'm only just touching the surface of this one. Okay, let me clear those out. Files. I got quite a lot of these. That's another hammer of some description. More files. That one is going to need a good clean. These look pretty old. I think it's just superficial rust. Actually, that's plain. I don't know what that is. Put that to one side. That is a round file. What have we got here? Oh, an old school claw hammer. That might clean up. Got some of those. And more files. That's quite a big one. More hammers. Yeah, okay. Hammer collection. Oh, crikey, right, these. That is a big, bad file. Hasn't got a handle on that one. This one's gone a bit rusty. No handle. Another King Dick. What's this one? Whitworth 7/16. Put that aside. Even more files. That's a rasp actually. That's a file. Files. That one needs a damn good clean up. These might come up. I don't think they've had a huge amount of use, just quite a lot of abuse. There's a square section. Piles of files. That one's quite coarse. That one should be okay. Another one which has probably not been used, no handle. And more files. That's quite a coarse one. That's quite a coarse one. Good grief. Another one. And that's a triangular one. Has that been modified or was that original? Difficult to say. No, I don't think that's actually a file. I'm not sure what that's for. Put that to one side. Oh, silver line. Brilliant. 50p for a feeler gauge. Well, at least that one's new. More big files. He must have bought these or something. And that one. And another manky spanner. of a G-clamp. Needs a bit of a clean. Guess what? More files. Well, that one's quite coarse. That one's quite coarse. Some of these I think are okay. Going to need a little bit of a clean up. That one is a triangular file. And that one's pretty coarse. Needs a handle. Handles aren't too expensive. Some more spanners. Chrome alloy. Sheffield. Let's say Norton on it maybe. And these are quite old. Blimey, that's a big one. I'm going to need a longer pot to clean that up. And a round file. And guess what? More files. Another round one, that's quite coarse. And then I think is a chisel, perhaps. Put that to one side. What have we got here? I think that's a file. I can feel teeth on it. It looks pretty old. Of a round one. A pair of electrician's pliers. Don't really need those. Another very coarse rasp. I think that's been used for some painting and decorating. Some more. And some more. Some more triangular ones. I suspect some of these have not really been used. That one may have had the tip broken off. That one's quite coarse. One without a handle. That's quite a small one. That one's fine-ish. Medium, half round. And some more. That one's quite fine, triangular. Medium triangular. That one's got the edges taken off. Wonder why. And that one's a fairly fine round. Ugh. Is that it? Is that all of them? Another round file. And some more small ones. That one's semicircular. And that's about it. And some wire cutters. And another British spanner. And yet another spanner. Wow. And a metal bar. Just for good measure. That is a big pile of files. I didn't count those, but there's got to be 30-40 files there. That handle's split, so that's going to need replacing. I don't think handles are hugely expensive, so I think the next job is to soak some of these in some vinegar. Well, give them a superficial clean up, then soak them in some vinegar, or failing the vinegar, I've got some oxalic acid, which will clear the more stubborn stuff, I think. And then I'll have to count up how many I've got, order some handles in, and see if I can... Oh, that one's got... Yeah, that one has got quite a bit of woodworm going on in the handle there. So that one definitely needs to be got rid of. But yeah, not bad for an afternoon scrumping in somebody's old shed. Wow, I need a coffee. Quick update after 48 hours of soaking and scrubbing, and some of these have come up reasonably well. The jaws on these little side snippers seem pretty intact actually. There's no dents or dings on those. It does say they're high tensile steel, and I think the quality of the steel makes a bit of a difference. If we look at these cheap pliers, they're still very pitted, but I suspect these were churned out of slightly lesser quality. These drill bits actually came up quite nice. I haven't got anything that will fit them, but all the rust has gone, and a little bit of wire wool and a stiff brush has soon polished those up quite nicely. Yeah, that still looks a bit crappy in there. This little square is not great. Again, I think the steel, in fact somewhere on here, this bit here, you can see where it's actually been fitted at some point. I suspect this will still work, but the main threaded part is pretty grim, I've obviously used a fairly mild steel, but I think that may screw all the way out, or has it got a captive bit on the end? Either way, I think this is borderline usable. It's not great, and you can buy these for not a huge amount of money. So we had a go, and then these are some of the files. Some of them are still pretty crusty. I think that one's definitely going to need a second go. I don't know what this is on the end here, but some of them have come up pretty good. This one looks almost new. In fact, I suspect some of these are new. Some of them have still got bits of aluminium stuck in them. He was obviously filing some fairly soft parts, but you can at least feel the teeth on these now. Still a little bit of superficial rust on some. They've been soaked in acid, then given a rub down with a stiff brush, wire brush, bit of wire wool, and then left to soak in some WD overnight, and it's brought most of it out. I think the handles not so great. You can see over here it's pretty grim at the bottom of this tray. It's still got quite a low pH, but I think I'm going to have to filter that out before I put anything else back in. But on the whole, compared to the originals, I think we've made a little bit of progress. So it's going to keep me busy doing the rest of these, but certainly it is doable. If you get old tools that are just rusting away, most of them I think are going to be good to go. So I shall need to find some homes for these, but I'll never be short of a file again.